Because I was doing a show at the BBC and I didn't want anybody to know that I had a mental health problem because that would mean I was fired. So I kept it really quiet, and Ed kept saying, oh, she has Epstein-Barr, or, we'd make up names because it was, you couldn't show up at work. And, but I got away with it because nobody knew what mental health looked like. So, so then it turned out I was so fearful of being fired, but then my last interview pretty much was Donald Trump, and I thought after that I've got to really shovel together what was left of my mind. And it started to show on TV. I get like these bouts of aggression or loss of the ability to figure out, when you can't make decisions. I think it started to show. So, but coincidentally at the same time, I've said this in my book, is that comic relief put a poster of me without asking me up and down the tube station. These giant posters that said, without asking me, and it said on it, 1 in 4 people have mental illness, 1 in 5 people have dandruff, I have both. And so the first I see of it is going up and down the tube station. So I was mortified, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I decided I would use that as my publicity poster and pretend I was doing a show. So I had to write a show, and then I did it in mental institutions for 2 years, and then and they liked it. I loved it. Those were my people. So, I felt I was with my tribe. And I used to make jokes. I used to say, the bipolars would say I laughed, I cried. I would make jokes. But they didn't mind because, you can make jokes about your own ilk. And then they don't feel insulted. So what happened was then, I don't remember how it happened, the show went to different real theaters. And now people who used to think my behavior was strange went, oh, Jennifer Saunders said, I was the one I think that told you to perk up. Because I said, people telling people with mental illness to perk up, because we never thought of that. And now once you have a show, nobody can touch you because it's your show. So I had a lucky break. And then I started getting interested in the mind and how we could maybe take over the driver's seat. That doesn't mean you cure yourself of depression, but you could see when it's coming. You get some forewarning, and that's when I started looking. Because I'd done therapy for 15 years. I had a degree in psychotherapy, but clearly, stuff works at a certain time, and then you grow up, and other things don't, it just doesn't work. It's like medication. It wears off, or you get an immunity. So my last stop was mindfulness, and I thought that sounded pretty dream-catchery. But I did it while I was in an institution. And you can't really do mindfulness when you're mentally ill because you haven't got a mind. But I thought there is something to this. I don't know how I got that, but I said, who's the guy who invented this? And they said, Mark Williams, who I'm supposed to talk to later today. He was one of the 3 who invented it for depression. And he was at Oxford, so I went to see him. And I think out of the kindness of his heart, he taught me the 8-week mindfulness course. And then I said, but I want to know what happens in the brain because I'm very practical. I'm not spiritual, I'm practical. Who knows? The lines are blurred. And he said, you have to get into Oxford. So then I did, and I got my master's. So people say, it wasn't a spiritual thing. It was a science quest to know what happens in the brain during mindfulness. And so ever since, I'm one of the people that it works for. And there is no miracle, but I have to go to that brain gym every day, and I can't tell, more or less, nothing's 100, when a depression's coming, and then I can duck some of the bullets, meaning I know when it's coming, and then I can shut myself in, turn off social media, not do what mentally ill people do, which is they start doing more to cover up the fact that something's wrong. So I really know when something's wrong. So that was the journey. And then the Queen gave me an OBE for being mentally ill, and I thought, I'm onto something here. I'm onto a winner.